Welcome to the NWR Resources Virtual Resources Series. My name is Kerry Stevenson, and up next we have Montem Resources. The ASX code is MR1. Now they're transitioning their Tent Mountain project in Alberta, Canada, to become a renewable energy complex. It's really interesting what they're doing, guys. So sit up and take some notice, and welcome Peter Doyle, the Managing Director, to tell us what they're doing. And it's pretty exciting that changes you're making, especially in this renewable world we're in. Peter, over to you.
Thanks very much, Kerry. Hello, everybody. My name is Peter Doyle, and as Kerry said, I'm the Managing Director of Montem Resources. Yeah, we agree with you, Kerry. It's very exciting. We have been toiling away for 5 years here in Canada, trying to develop and bring to market two outstanding hard coking coal projects. We've run adrift a little while with permitting here. It's been quite difficult with the coal focus. And we have some particular attributes at Tent Mountain that are really quite unique. And we really had another look at this. I'll go through the history in a moment. We had another look at this recently this year. And look, the program and the work that we've done with real experts here in Canada on this are showing really encouraging and outstanding results. And in fact, we now have the potential to be developing the largest scale green hydrogen project in possibly in North America. So yeah, extraordinary transformation potentially for Tent Mountain and for Montem Resources. And I'm very pleased to tell everybody about it. I do have quite a large slide pack. It's available on our website and on the ASX. We registered it last week. Please download it and have a look. I won't present all the slides, but I'll certainly get the story across.
Because he knows that I'll stop him.
That's actually a photo at the back end of Tent Mountain, looking into British Columbia at Tex Mine in the background. And if for any of those wondering, that's me with the back of the camera.
It's a fabulous photo. Love it.
Thank you. Our disclaimer, obviously, we very much believe in what we're saying, but there aren't any forward-looking statements here. There's no investment advice, and this is not an offer document. So what we did at Tent Mountain, or what we have at Tent Mountain, is quite an unusual setup. We own quite a large parcel of land in the Rockies. And this is a mine site. It's a registered mine here in Alberta. And because of the historical mining, it has a large body of water, which we're renaming the Upper Reservoir. And it is 300 metres below the valley floor, where there's other man-made reservoirs down there. We looked at this project in 2019 as a pump hydro project, and we were encouraged by the outcome of that study. But we decided to build the mine first and have the pump hydro at the end of the mine. Subsequent to that, we pushed forward with the mine planning, got it all the way through to what we thought was final permitting at the provincial level, and then got pushed into we got designated for a federal review. And that's going to add some years to the permitting timeline. So in light of that, and in light of a few other things that have happened here in the coal space, we re-looked at this project. We got some great local consultants to come and help us with the work. And the outcomes of those studies are really encouraging. The board has now decided that we will progress the renewable energy complex, the study of Tent Mountain as the centerpiece, this big battery, a water battery that I'll tell you about, and push that through to a feasibility study. To help with that, we've applied for $5 million worth of funding from the federal government through their Clean Fuels program. And we hope to receive that funding, and that'll really obviously help us to get that project finished through to feasibility, at which point I think it'll become very, very obvious which way we go. Quite unusual having one asset with two potential ways to monetize it or a way to drive profit from it. And we're very fortunate about the unique aspects of Tent Mountain and how it can do that. And of course, we're going to drive through to the correct point of decision making before making that final investment decision. How it all works. So I talked before about Tent Mountain being the centerpiece. This little schematic there, the plan is to produce green hydrogen, being low carbon intensity or zero carbon intensity hydrogen, by powering that with renewable electricity. And the centerpiece again is the Tent Mountain pump hydro energy storage system, and that will be powered by wind power. So we draw electricity to the site in the form of wind power. We pump the water back up the hill at times of low electricity demand, and at times of high electricity demand, we run the pump hydro system, generating electricity. Excess electricity will go to the grid, and the electrolyzer to produce hydrogen will take it. And the real key part here is you could just attach, I guess, take Tent Mountain out of the middle and attach an electrolyzer to wind power and produce green hydrogen, but you can only produce it when the wind blows.
Yeah.
What we have at Tent Mountain is this fantastically large energy storage system where it simply works by storing the water at the top of the hill, and when the power is needed, then it's dispatchable for up to 8 hours at a time. And that is the unique thing. There's very few of these that are possible in Alberta. We have land in the Rockies. We have this water body, this large water body at height, and we have a ready access to the grid. In fact, the largest electricity, the largest high voltage lines in Canada run right past our front gate. Here's a map of the project area. If you start at the bottom of the map, the sort of pinky purple colour is our freehold land. The blue is the represents the upper and the lower reservoir. They're connected by some large pipes. At the bottom of the hill is a powerhouse, which will be connected to the grid, likely to a 240 kV grid, which will be connected in the future. The wind power comes in from the grid. At the moment, we're looking at the potential of partnering with our nearest First Nation partners, the Piikani Nation. We've agreed to explore mutually beneficial commercial arrangements. It's really exciting for us to have the Piikani there. In fact, I was on site today, not with Piikani, but with the team for an orientation with the steering committee, and we drove through the wind farms, and it's just such an exciting complementary set of assets. We can draw green power, we can store green power, and we can make green hydrogen. This is a schematic diagram of the way that the pump hydro system works. And it's simply, I think Australians are more familiar with it in some respects than Canadians because of the Snowy Mountain scheme. You know, lots of us grew up with that. In fact, I grew up in that area of Australia. And surprisingly, or not surprisingly to us, I guess, the first people that worked on this project for us in Montem were an Australian company. But the simple system is you pump it up, you pump the water up from the lower reservoir to the top, using the same turbines in reverse, actually, that generate the electricity. They draw from the grid when the electricity price is low, and we produce electricity when the electricity price is high. And in that way, it is just a very big battery. This diagram is a render of what the site will look like when it has what is known as the penstock, which is the pipes running down the hill to the powerhouse at the bottom. It's a 300-metre drop from the top to the bottom, or there or thereabouts. It's actually a little bit more. As I said, we were there in the field today. We had a very big field trip with all the steering committee members and some of the technical experts, and Yeah, there's a really a great deal of energy around this. Excuse the pun. Everybody's really excited about it, at the potential of this. So, you know, I think I've probably gone through the attributes here enough of what it is, but that's what it looks like in a picture.
Peter, is that just in that picture there? It was previously a mine, as you say, and now it's full of water. Is there any issues with holding the water? Because that looks like a steep drop on the right-hand side there with the upper reservoir. Do you have to do anything to, I guess, maintain the integrity of that?
Oh, look, Kerry, the initial investigations are that it's very, very stable. I mean, that big pit at the top of the hill there has been there for nearly 35 or over 35 years since it started to fill. So it's been standing there for a while. It's very, very deep. It's about 40 metres deep from the current water level. But of course, we need to investigate additional geotech drilling around the pit just to do that. Luckily, we've done a great deal of work for the mine on geotech and hydrogeology. So we actually know quite a bit about it. It's quite advanced. And we're not anticipating doing any more work up there until next summer, so the feasibility study will push through and then get a bunch more information next summer as per its requirement. The lower reservoir is an already existing man-made wetland. It was also put in as a water treatment system, passive water treatment system for the mine. It's glacial till at the bottom, and we've drilled a lot of that. The expectation is that the lower reservoir will have a liner to make it watertight. This is the actual attributes of the pump hydro, and the real key there is the second bottom number of the energy in storage of 2,560 megawatt hours is actually a really large. That indicates the size of the battery. Put that into perspective. A lithium-ion battery may have a smaller amount of energy in storage than that, but it cannot match the generation period of 8 hours. Most batteries will last less than an hour, or far less than that. The other thing that's important is that this is an old mining area. Obviously, we're in a mine, and you know it has a limited amount of current, heavy, or even significant industry down there. And this project has the potential for at least 200 jobs in construction, and around 30 to 40 full-time operational jobs, which may not sound like much, but this project will last in excess of 50 years. So that's 30, 40 jobs for 50 years. Not many of us want to work that long.
Just while you're on that, I've got a question which from Jeremy, which says, if you're unsuccessful with that $5 million grant you spoke about, how are you going to raise funds for the feasibility study?
Well, look, we have a good amount of money left in the bank right now, and we're progressing it along. We would do it in stages, Jeremy, and we get it to a certain point, release results, and see how the market responded. But we're very, very confident of our monetisation strategy. We do have additional strategies that I'm not going to go into here in a public forum, but they're pretty exciting. We've attracted attention of some pretty significant energy companies already. And right now we're driving forward to be able to ultimately populate a data room with some serious work in there that people can analyse and understand the risks versus the reward. I'll continue on. I'm just going to skip through these pretty detailed slides here. This slide on slide 9 is about the need for storage. I think we were talking a little while ago, Kerry, about the fact that Alberta's got itself in an interesting situation. They've closed over 30%, or they are in the process, of closing over 30% of their power supply in coal-fired power. Originally, they were planning on replacing that with gas-fired power, but in the period since they, at a provincial level, decided to close the coal-fired power, the gas-fired power is now under significant strain because of the potential for a very large carbon tax. I'm just going to flick through to this slide just to show you the type of carbon tax that is being talked about in
Wow.
Canada of around $170 by 2030. So bringing it in at the start at around $40 a tonne and ramping it up to $170 a tonne within a decade. I'm just going to go backwards to these slides very quickly. Excuse me, this slide here is slide number 10. I'd just like people to look at the graphs, and I'll explain both of them to you very, very quickly. The orange graph on the side is actually on the right-hand side is actually a grab of 1 month's electricity output from renewables, and you can see how at times it's very, very large, and at times it's very, very low. But really, the thing that's most dramatic is its volatility. It is extremely volatile medium of producing electricity. And what I spoke about before with the closing down of the baseload power and not replacing it with any other baseload power, Alberta's only really replacing at the moment with renewables, and has the potential to run into this really awkward reality of having a lot of potential capacity, but not being able to dispatch it. So lots and lots of renewables, lots of wind, lots of solar, but not being actually in a position to turn that on and off as you'd like, which is why they're turning to batteries, which is why Tent Mountain is so valuable. And the graph on the left-hand side, the grey and the green, the grey, if you like, is an example of one of the companies that work for us, Boost Energy Ventures, fantastic group of really bright men and women and know the electricity sector intimately here in Alberta, did a whole lot of modelling of what we could expect our revenue streams to be under different scenarios. And the grey is effectively the dam level, the reservoir level at the top, and the green is the pool price in an increment of a few minutes, up to 5-minute increments, sorry, on any given time. And so this is what their expectation is of, if you combine this graph thinking about the orange one as well, about the intermittency of this power supply coming from renewables and the need for a battery storage. So
2 minutes,
we're
Peter.
buying it. Beg your pardon?
2 minutes to go.
Oh, okay. I'll run through this then, just getting on to the wind. So as I spoke before, we're very excited that Montem and Pagani Nation have agreed to explore the mutual benefits of the supply of wind power, and we look very forward to potentially partnering with them to build that. If we don't, we have the opportunity to just buy cheap electricity from the grid, and of course we'd be aiming for that to be all renewable energy. And then finally, the hydrogen itself. You can make hydrogen right now from electricity pretty much anywhere on the globe. An electrolyzer itself just simply splits water into its constituent of hydrogen and water. Hydrogen and oxygen. And the plan for us is to push that project through to feasibility. And when the market needs that green hydrogen, when the premium is there for that green hydrogen to be consumed, the investment case will become quite obvious, we believe. I'll just skip through these and just finish up. We are assessing the risks. People have asked what's next. I think the gentleman earlier on was asking, well, how? Well, the next stage is a full feasibility on the pump hydro energy storage, on the wind and on the hydrogen. As I said, we're looking forward to working with Pagani or keeping on working with Pagani. And we're very much, working on a plan of monetisation. There you go, Kerry. I nearly got through 20 and 20. I got to slide 18. I think the rest are just more pictures.
All right. Well, that was it's a lot that you've got going on there. I'm going to go to questions now. So, ladies and gentlemen, pop your questions in the panel below. Jeremy asks, why is the delay of a year significant enough on the coking coal project to switch to pump hydro, which has got a longer lead time?
I think it's the unknowns. I think right now we're not switching. I think that the company is working on the pump hydro to get it to the same point, which is a feasibility study, which is the which is the Tent Mountain as a restart of the mine. We are still progressing the restart of the mine through the permitting, but two things happened up here in Canada early this year. One was the Alberta government decided to relook at its policies around coal and coal developments, and secondly, the Tent Mountain project was 3/4 of the way through permitting at a provincial level, and then got designated for review at a federal level. And it's not necessarily a 1-year delay. We don't know how long the delay is. We cannot predict. There is too much sort of uncertainty in that system right now to predict how long it'll take.
It's called politics. Right. So Bernie's asking, to support the generation required for pumping the water for 8 hours, are you going to need some more new windmills to be built?
Not necessarily. There's excess of renewables right now available, but we are investigating, as I said before, very much the potential for a new wind farm, or probably better to say the potential to partner with the Piikani Nation on wind. So the importance of that is the Piikani Nation are in the heartland of wind power production in Alberta.
From a political point of view, and it's interesting, isn't it? You've got the coal, which obviously Canadian government that not so keen on. You've got the green, they love it. How do you balance that, Peter, as a managing director of a company where you've got two very disparate energy sources, literally almost at the other end of the spectrum? It's called hedging really well, but how do you balance that out? Are you pushing on both fronts with both of them, and what's the message?
Well, look, I think you hit the message on the head. It's hedging, right? We are in this incredibly fortunate position of taking one asset and having two pathways to success. We've worked hard on one pathway and we've got it to feasibility and we're in permitting, and we're taking the other pathway to get it to the same point and then decide which one's the lowest risk and highest return. That's the nuts and bolts of the decisions we're making. For an investor, I mean, it's an incredible opportunity to have exposure to both the current hottest commodity going, which is hard coking coal, and the fervour for the future fuel being hydrogen. And here we are presenting as a company with the potential for both. So, it may serve as a conundrum to some as to who are you as a company. We're simply investigating a repurposing of our existing assets. We're not doing anything else. We're looking at Tent Mountain and saying, well, what else can it be from our existing asset base? And, I think it's created a bit of buzz around the stock. People are excited about the potential, and we are too. People should be.
Well, it's a very interesting project. We wish you all the best with it, Peter Doyle. Great to see you. And thanks for rushing back from site to get to us and share the story with the investors today. And we look forward to the news flow coming forward.
Absolutely. Thanks very much for having me, Kerry. Always